Okay, so Leigh Johnson and I are going to share this closing remarks session, and we both know we stand between this audience and the reception, so we will keep it succinct. So it's tough to kind of sum up these incredible couple of days, and thank you all for your gracious thanks to us. We really do enjoy planning this and putting it on, and yes, we also have day jobs outside of this, but we love it, and we're glad you do too. So in our 6th year, C3E is growing and evolving. It's encouraging to hear from and to meet all of this talent, the awardees, the speakers, and every one of you, the audience. You're all working to evolve the energy infrastructure to support this clean energy transition. And we've heard throughout the past 2 days that people are not only excited about the diversity of this gathering, but also about the valuable connections being made. It's a powerful network that we're building. We've listened and learned from one another, and we're bringing back tangible resources to our day-to-day jobs. So I believe it was Paula Gold-Williams who spoke about acting locally and performing globally to effectively speed us through this clean energy transition. And I appreciate her recognition of the amazing poster competitors who, as she said, are working hard on real solutions. We heard from Laura Nelson about unprecedented times in energy and unprecedented opportunities. And we honored and recognized 2 women senators for their bipartisan approaches to energy policy. And we know that they, like us, don't always agree. However, as Laura Nelson emphasized, these discussions about complicated, controversial topics move us forward. And as we heard from our international and US territory panel, looking at these issues in a global context is incredibly important. Those speakers and many other women in this network are doing vital work to reduce greenhouse gas emissions through their direct involvement on the ground and through research that informs low carbon energy policies. So I asked, of course, for these slides to be here because I want to thank our sponsors one last time. They enabled us to bring you all here together and to celebrate these incredible mid-career women and the poster competitors. So thank you to that. Thank you also, of course, once again, to the staffs that have worked for months to put this together, from MIT, MIT Energy Initiative, US Department of Energy, and Stanford. And I have one last logistical thing to say before I hand it over to Leigh, which is that after Leigh is done, we will move into reception mode, but the price you mid-career awardees have to pay is that you come up here for a photo first before you join us in the reception. So we're excited to have that memento. So Leigh Johnson is Associate Director at Stanford's Precourt Institute and part of the planning team for the symposium. And Leigh has been a true partner and jumped in last year with a quick timeline to pull together the C3E Symposium last year. And that's it from me about Leigh. She's great to work with. Thanks, Leigh.
So I also want to give a special thank you to Martha and her team at MIT, and to Carol and her team at DOE, and to Energetics, who helps us with a lot of the logistics, and also to all of the C3E ambassadors. It's just an absolute pleasure to work with this group of outstanding women. And we are delighted to be hosting C3E 2018 again next year at Stanford. So we hope to see many of you there. So I just thought I'd reflect a little bit on what we've done the last few days here. So why are we here? We're here because women are underrepresented in STEM and in clean energy. And this is a major sector of our economy, and there's so many opportunities for all members of our society to make significant contributions, to have satisfying careers, and to make impact. And that's what C3 is about. The last 100 years, we've seen a tremendous change in the energy resources that people have in our society. It's really enabled the lifestyle that we enjoy today. And looking into the next century, we have some significant challenges ahead of us. We need to dramatically expand the size of our energy system, and we need to do it in a way that's affordable to everybody, so that everybody has access to energy. We need to do it in a way that's sustainable, and we also need to do it in a way that's secure, that's safe from the threats of cyber and climate and weather events. I thought Carol put it well earlier this morning when she said she really likes working on important things that help people's lives. And I wanted to give you a quote from one of Stanford's founders, Jane Stanford. In 1902, she said, "Stanford University was designed for the betterment of mankind morally, spiritually, intellectually, physically, and materially. The public at large, and not alone the comparatively few students who can attend the university, are the chief and ultimate beneficiaries of our foundation." So I think that sums up in another way what you said, Carol. So how do we increase representation of women in energy? We heard from Secretary Perry, as well as Amy Glassmeyer. They framed the conversation in terms of education and empowerment. They said how important it is to educate today's and tomorrow's workforce, to advance and accelerate innovation, to engage bright young minds, as well as to engage people who feel like they've been left behind in various different regions of our country, and to also recognize those who make contributions. We've heard some of the contributions that women have made and are making over the last 2 days. We've heard about enabling technologies that may allow Nigeria to leapfrog. We've heard about innovative policies tailored to regional needs. Disruptive technologies and business models, especially in the electricity sector and in the transportation and mobility area. We've heard about women in the mainstream in the energy community, with 22% of CEOs, 22% of public utilities with women CEOs. We've heard about making energy efficiency as important a metric as profitability, safety, and health. We've heard about, with passion, mobilizing collaborative communities and energy justice. Ernie Moniz gave us a 3-part roadmap to have success on the demand side, to decarbonize electricity and electrify our economy, and to achieve large-scale scale-up of carbon management. We've talked about complexity and system solutions. And we've looked at the challenge that St. Croix and St. Thomas are experiencing following the 2 hurricanes, of having already restored 34% of electricity and aiming for 90% by Christmas. So I think it's time to celebrate our C3E community. This is a group of women with ideas, passion, and leadership. And I think of it as the chain. We've got to start with the C3E ambassadors, women with over 20 years of experience. Each woman has over 20 years of experience in industry, government, NGOs, academia. We heard some amazing voices from the mid-career awardees in the last 2 days, who were so inspiring. And we heard how they plan to use their awards to pass it forward, to engage other young women in their work. I want to also thank our corporate sponsors, because that's really meaningful. It's something for us to all come together, but it's also something to see these efforts that go beyond our meeting. And of course, we have our dual lifetime achievement winners. So before inviting you to Stanford, I was amused earlier by the story of that Libby told about Deb putting on her lipstick in a meeting. And I wanted to tell you a little small story, but that I thought was very powerful to me at the last C3 meeting. It was a comment just made off the cuff by MIT's co-president of their energy club. And she looked around the room and she said, "You know, There's 7 women who are pregnant in this room. I've never been to a professional conference with 7 women who are pregnant. I think I could go to a professional conference pregnant. And I thought that was a really meaningful thing. So going forward, Stanford has 200 faculty working on energy research, and the Stanford Energy Club is one of the most active clubs that we have on our campus. Wen Song, Shannon Wojcik, and Yasmin Bashirova are officers in the club. They've been here the last 2 days. And so Stanford's Precourt Institute for Energy looks forward to collaborating with all of you and our C3E ambassadors and colleagues at MIT and DOE and Energetics as we welcome you out west to Stanford in 2018. Thank you very much.